Oh, okay, Amber. Oh, do I own this meeting? Oh, you do. Okay. Anyways, um, cool. Okay. Well, what I really want to do is make this into a podcast, but I'm not going to do that. But I do want to record this.
Oh, cool.
Marriage counseling with Update AI.
Yeah.
Yes, for the two of you. So
All right. Sorry to interrupt.
for you, it's bounded, it's clear. When you grow, it's just very attractive to be part of the leadership team. It's often not very bounded. And is it stable? Is it intact long enough to accomplish something meaningful? And do we understand our interdependence? Like maybe we're going to talk about time zones a little bit because we're still asleep on the West Coast, Mickey, when Josh is already running full speed. So that's the first one, and I think it would be great to have a look at some of the real team elements. Compelling purpose. I would just like to express your dream with each other. And what do you think the purpose of that connection between the two of you is? The right people, right skills. I think you chose very diligently. Teamwork competence. Do you like to work together? And how do you like to work together? Enough diversity, but not too much, because too much, you're not going to find each other. There really is something that's too much in diversity here. And address derailers quickly. What they mean mostly here is people, but it might also be behaviors, do's and don'ts with me. And then the sound structure, all of these, I don't find them too important. The only thing that I find important in the enablers, in the lower part, is what are our explicit principles, operating modes, explicit and clear norms of conduct. I think those are really, really important.
Cool.
Then just to be complete, supportive context means are there the right rewards? Do you not reward each other in a way that's counterproductive to teamwork? Is the right data available? Is there enough training and technical consultation education for you available? And do you have access to the resources that you need? And then the lower one, it's not necessarily someone like me. You can do this with each other. It is someone who says, okay, let's zoom out. How did this meeting go? Did we do enough? You already know that's going to be one of your pitfalls, your potential shadows. Did we go enough into execution? That's going to be one of the questions that you ask each other. And it doesn't have to be an external coach. The team coaching can come from both of you. It's someone who regularly intervenes on the process as opposed to the content. So that's why I think this makes sense. And I prepared a document. I thought, let's make this really.
Thank you.
I love to be useful, Josh, as you know. It's the Josh Mickey collaboration manifesto. And I'm going to put these in the attachments later on, but I put your two Strength Finder profiles first. And Josh, if you remember, we can have a look at your top 10 as well. It's on our Padlet. But you remember, I shared that with Mickey as well. You have this amazing power triangle: significance, command, and self-assurance, which, like, when you come in a room, you own the room and you can easily piss off alpha male. Now, Mickey luckily is not an alpha male, so that's not a thing. And I can imagine that probably your power triangle is under pressure occasionally because you felt you had to do it so alone. But now there is something else which might enable and empower you to get back into your power triangle more again, which is interesting. So that's for you. Relator, both of you have relator in your top 10. And context, you have the green. You know what? I'm going to switch so we can have a look at the top 10. You have the green in the. So sorry, this is you. This is Josh. So here comes your green: analytical, futuristic, intellectual, and learner. And context is also a green. So that is the strategic thinking themes. And those you share a lot.
And what's the blue and the orange again?
Yeah, it's good you ask. Blue is relationship building, green, strategic thinking. This is the, like, let's say the traditional leadership's strength.
Yeah.
It's influence, it's taking charge, it's speaking up, it's owning the room, it's having a very clear North Star. And what you don't have a lot, the two of you, and we will talk about it, so let's take it up front. You don't have a lot of execution themes. You have restorative, and restorative is this, it's super interesting. It loves to solve problems. So I think for both of you, it's one of the things that we're probably going to find is how are we going to make sure that you get into the rhythm of doing. And the two of you, because it's going to give you energy for good strategic discussions. It was interesting when I talked to Mickey on Tuesday, he said something very interesting that gave me good perspective. He said, we're still in a stage, and we'll probably be there for quite some time, where our ability to think and to strategize is very, very important. Which, of course, it doesn't mean you need to get good shit done. I mean, of course. And both of you have done that in your roles. But I think when the two of you are together, making sure that there is enough rhythm and enough hicks and hacks that make you execute, I think is important.
Yeah.
Let me share, because I went into Josh's. And I went with Mickey on Tuesday. Look, Mickey's all green. Boom. Ideation, futuristic, input, strategic, learner. He loves to think and to strategize and to bring the future in the here and now. And then he also he's a very good relationship builder.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you're right. It works well that influencer is kind of my big thing, but Mickey's, it's not for Mickey, right? So there's not going to be that power dynamic conflict.
No, there's not. Boom.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Katerina, is that kind of like I'm willing to share the spotlight or to step back and let Josh take the spotlight? Because that's how it feels. Like, that's how I've generally been. Like, if somebody really wants the spotlight, I'm totally cool giving it to them and supporting them and stepping in when I need to.
Yeah. I mean, if it manifests like that, that's great. And it's just wonderful that your natural tendency is not to also want the spotlight, because then you don't have to fight for it. And I think if you look at how, Josh is the original founder, you're now his second man, it makes perfect sense. And you took the chunk of getting in touch with customers. So the positivity, the adaptability, the relationship building is a great skill to have.
And just to be clear, I don't have any qualms about Mickey having more influence or exposure or being more of the face of the company. I'm supportive of that if that's interesting to Mickey and if it's helpful for the business.
Great. Shall we start with your dreams? I would love that. And I'm going to write while you talk. And oh yeah, by the way, before we go into, look, I thought, let's go through these 4 questions. What's your dream? What is our role as a team? Just 2 or 3 sentences. We don't have to spend an hour on this. And what are the big chunks of work? And how do we divide them? And you already have all that. It's in your heads. Just let's put it on paper. You can chew on it. You can come back to it. It can do better thinking if you put stuff on paper. And maybe putting stuff on paper and thinking out loud is one of your ways to make sure there's enough execution going on. Yeah. Like, there's always one of you writing while you think, or drawing, or whatever tool you use. And then the last, like, what are your 3 to 5 operating principles? What do you need from each other? Sounds good.
Sounds great.
Sounds good.
So tell me about the dream until, I would say, let's dream until December 2023.
Okay, well, that's not much of a dream. That's more of a like tactically where we're going, but that's fine.
Ideal version, December 2023. You tell
Okay,
me.
a year from today. I immediately go to like pragmatism, not dream mode, right? So pragmatically, if you're giving me a year timeline, you're bringing me into that. We have generated consistent monthly revenues. I mean, if you specifically, we are, let's say, above $50,000 a month. And as a result of that, that kind of indicates product market fit. And then it's really, then it's a slam dunk for us to be able to raise the next round that we want. And that's it. I mean, a year from now, that's all I care about.
Love it. You know what? What's our ideal version of
12 months.
December
Yeah.
2023? And now you go, Mickey.
Yeah, I think in my mind, and you asked me this question earlier, I'd say like the hum of the business is reaching a pitch where like we have to potentially hire some people to help out. Starting to get to the point where Josh and I can't do kind of like all of the things that we're doing today, and I mean that in a good way. Like, we have traction, that product market fit, where people are using us and loving us, and it's really solving a problem. I hope we're at a point in the product where I use it every day, because I don't use it every day right now.
That's a good one.
Because I do envision a world where I'm like this solves a problem for me. That part of the reason I believe in it is because the product we envision will solve a problem for me.
I like that.
Yeah. Just the big dream. If it's, I don't know, however long it's going to take. And now, Mickey, you start. What's the biggest? Oh no, Josh, you start. What's the biggest dream?
To become $1 billion company.
Yeah. And Mickey?
I mean, I think it's like it's used everywhere. Like it's every single Zoom meeting that people are having, every single Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, like every video call that people are having, they're using Update AI.
I love it.
Household name.
Yep.
Yeah, like I would love to get to the point where like anybody I talk to in our space knows what it is. I don't have to explain what it is and what we do and why it's important and all that.
What's your role as a team in this stage? And this can change over time. Why are you a team?
Is that for each of us individually to answer about ourselves, or
your perspective? Going to write it down, see the overlaps.
Okay. Our role as a team. I mean, honestly, for me, it's just about reaching our financial milestones of what we need to get to the next round. So it's all hands on deck to get us to product market fit.
Why do you need to be a team for that?
because otherwise I know personally I will get overwhelmed and from, from past experience with the company, and execution will falter. But also, okay, so there's that piece of it, execution. There's also just learning and understanding, and this plays into our mission as a company or the product that we're bringing to market. But like being able to have conversations with Mickey, just like extemporaneously, really furthers like and solidifies our ideas and is bringing our product and our thinking to a better place. And then the third thing for me is energy. I mean, you remember Kat. There's a chance, by the way, that I actually published this video. So we'll, because I think it's really interesting, and I like being vulnerable with the company and showing people things that are, I don't think anything we've discussed yet is sensitive, but you remember, Kat, what we had, kind of this issue before with team members and energy being, it being negative energy, taking energy away from me. But specifically when I think about somebody like Mickey, being a team is the energy, it's building energy, positive energy for us. Which is, I mean, for me, frankly, it's just really good for my own just stress.
Yes, I love that. And it's interesting when you said we're a team, because otherwise I get overwhelmed or things get stalled. I wanted to dig a little bit deeper in what do you need from that team? What's your hypothesis that this team will bring? And then you answered it. You said it'll bring me energy. And in the ups and downs of starting up and bringing a new idea to a whole industry, is bringing some stability and some consistency to each other.
Yeah. And the last thing is, I mean, I don't know if this is the output or the input, but ownership, right? Like that's what I need, is ownership. And that's what I've lacked. And, I've had a lot of folks that have come in as half measured. They've been advisors, they've been fractional, they've been interns, they've been this. And it is really energy draining because they don't have that same level of ownership.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I'll just say explicitly, when and my wife can attest to this, for better or for worse, when I get involved in something, I take on an ownership of it, even if it's just, a job for a company. And sometimes that's to my detriment. Like I'll think about it at night. I'll think about it first thing in the morning. I'm constantly ruminating on it. And but I'm also very well aware that like there's different types of people. There's people that don't do that. Like, everything's a means to an end or a job or just a thing they got to do. And I like, this is why I, to your energy point, Josh, like, I like it when we like are, stepping away from like the tactical and, we're having conversations that both energize us. I get energized by those conversations. And I want to have those because I've realized that the more I think about like the world that we can create, the more it energizes me to get through like the stuff you have to do day to day to build that world. And I didn't always have that, by the way. That's something I've kind of had to learn along the way.
Right. Following up with tasks sucks, but the more that you're driven by the fun, creative energy to power through that is what you're saying.
Yeah. To eat the frog, so to speak.
Yeah. And early in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me a little bit more, Mickey, about what, and I mean, a lot here has been said. It's about financials, about ideas. What's your role as a team? And I remember, and you said that in your ideal version of Update AI in December 2023 as well, and in your big dream as well. And you said it Tuesday as well. Like, what is our role as a team, given the big change that you want to bring?
Well, the team, given the big change we want to bring.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, go. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. One of the things that that Josh like said to me, but I also believe this, is like, I want to do what I can to help Josh and the other team members do what they do best. So like, or just to unburden them a little bit. I'm a caretaker. If you ask my wife, I learned this from my father because he's also a caretaker. So there's a part of me that, like, if Josh is feeling stressed, I want to take stuff off of his plate. Or if somebody is having a tough time, I want to take some of that burden. And how I see that playing out is, like, I told Josh early on, hey, like, I want to take care of this stuff so that you can focus on the stuff that you're really good at and driving the product forward. Cause like, that's not my area of expertise. I'll weigh in if you ask me, like, I'll give opinions, but I'm also self-aware enough to know that their opinions based off of just pure instinct, no profession, like no real professional experience or expertise. And I mean, obviously there's other areas of the business I don't have expertise in, but they're just not as critical right now. Like, if you asked me to do the bookkeeping, I'd be like, I'm gonna hire somebody. Yeah, because so yeah, that's a part of how I see my role. And I also, whenever you get a new job, people ask you all the time, right? How's the new job? How's the new job? And the line I've been giving people is, exactly what I'm hoping for, which is true, is that it's chaos. Like, that's what I actually wanted, because I want to have my hands all over the business, because whatever happens, I want to know that I had a part in it, and I'm going to try my best to make sure that there's a positive outcome at the end of this. And even if there isn't, and I mentioned this to you, Katerina, and I'll say this explicitly, even if there isn't a positive financial outcome, I'll say financial, I want to enjoy the time along the way. I want to enjoy the time with Josh and the team, because Josh and I already have spent a lot of time together. We're going to spend a lot more time together. And if I didn't like Josh, this would be a lot less fun. So that's, I guess a more succinct way of saying that is, like, I want to help build a culture that both Josh and I and the extended team and future team members enjoy, because startups can really suck at times. And yes, I've gone through some sucky moments at startups. But those times are made a lot easier when you enjoy the people you work with.
Love it. I hear energy, ownership, caring, and very important, good thinking. What's our role as a team? There is an intellectual part of it, and there is an emotional part of it, and there is like almost a physical part of it as well when you talk about taking care of each other. One thing I wrote down that you said on Tuesday, so how does success look at the end of 2023? We brought something to market that changes the world.
I love that.
And both of you, Josh, you have significance. All your strategic thinking, Mickey, I think, into that. And it's always frightening to say that, it's like the unicorn or the 1 billion. You want to bring something into the world that changes it.
Yeah, it almost seems like, what's the point otherwise?
Yeah.
And I, don't get me wrong, I said it to you and I said it to Josh, like, it would be great to be filthy rich, but like, also, if we're not doing, if we're not doing something that matters, maybe this is why I didn't go into investment banking, because I'm just like, being an investment banker doesn't feel like it changes the world in a positive way. But if I can help bring a tool to people's lives that makes it easier, makes it more enjoyable, impacts them personally, that I'll get a lot of satisfaction from that.
Yeah, meaning. I hear meaning. And it's good to know it's your role as a team is to bring results. Your role as a team is to balance and bring each other energy. Your role as a team is to build the culture of update, to be the role models, to unburden, to enable. At some point, it's probably going to be a little bit more structuring. Right now, it's exactly what you said, Mickey. It's chaos. You catch a lot of balls. What are the big chunks of work? And I think you know exactly what this is, but I want to make it explicit. What are the big tasks, and how have you divided them?
Well, I mean, it's funny because we didn't know what title to give Mickey. Like number 2 doesn't play well on LinkedIn. So
I like Austin Powers, so I think that's hilarious.
Yeah. But I think we quickly kind of realized what it is. His title now, head of go to market, is effectively, it's literal. So the big chunks of work that I want him to own, and I think he is aligned with this, is really anything that touches the customer. So sales and the marketing part of sales, and then bringing customers in and customer success, maintaining those relationships. That being said, I think it would be irresponsible for me to just pass him all of that and say, hey, good luck with this, right? So it still needs to be founder-led sales, and I still need to tag team sales with him, and even the customer relationship development for existing customers afterwards. So I need to be there for him and part of that.
Of course, you're giving him good onboarding and handover and touch points and all the resources that he needs to do his best work. Yeah. And then Mickey, anything to add to this?
Yeah, I'd say like part of that is like helping Josh with the operation of the business. So, there's like all of those motions he mentioned, plus like how we do them, the personnel, all of that stuff. And then like as far as like how I see my relationship and like the big chunk of work I mentioned before, like I'm trying to, like, I can participate in the product stuff, but like that's where I need Josh to like really own that, and I can pitch in wherever makes sense. I can't really help right now with like other parts of the business, like the accounting, the finance. When it comes time, maybe I'll pitch in on the raising of more money and stuff like that. I'm sure I will. I guess I should be clear. I'm sure I will, but that's not something I have direct experience with. Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything else to add.
And I actually really appreciate that Mickey came in and he's like, all right, Josh, like you just make sure the product is up to speed, and I'll help tackle the go to market. So he's helped push, nudge, shape my focus, which has been good. And he's continuing to help remind me of like what I'm doing that's necessary versus what might be
nice,
extra.
Good. Yeah. Nice to have and need to have. Tell me more, Josh, what product development, financing?
I would just call that stuff the operations, right? Like all the stuff that rolls up to finance and legal and stuff like, and recruiting and stuff like that. And then my responsibility is still customer development, I'd call it. Just kind of your founder-led sales, and then we can call it investor relations. Right now, it's just giving updates, but it will be fundraising. And then overall team team project management, making sure that the team is, aligned and knows what each other is working on, which I think I've taken a backseat to in recent months, being as structured as I could be and used to be on like team timelines and, Gantt charts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I've honestly, I've fatigued, I've burnt out a little bit on that stuff. Right.
Yeah.
You can understand why, coming from BCG and like,
Yeah.
and then also like doing that stuff and really pushing hard on it, but then the product being delayed. Right. Like, so I need to make sure the team is all understanding what's going on across the work streams.
And Josh, if this is really supposed to work as a team, and you've been alone, you've been dancing alone, so there's not a lot of tendency, or like the pathway to Mickey is not yet natural. Make sure that you use him, and like you let him do stuff occasionally with the team project management or with whatever you feel you can delegate, so that there is this like starting to develop an equilibrium. Because in the system that you created, you took all the space. Now someone takes a little bit of space, but the tendency will still be for you to take a lot of space.
Yeah.
So before we dive into what are our operating principles, let us go into your StrengthsFinder profiles and into the I need and I bring. And Mickey, I would love for you to start this time. Just don't run us through all of it, but just the key elements that resonate with you. What is it that you bring, and what is it that you need? And what you bring is your natural tendencies plus your experience, and your need is what energizes you to do your best work.
So like from ideation, on the left side, I bring an ability to find connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. This is something I actually realized about myself many years ago. And sometimes it's like really awesome. It's like, holy shit, like that's a really great like connection that makes things clearer, or simpler, or more effective. As far as what I need, variety of work. This is something that at times has been actually bad for my career, because I get really bored after a year doing the same shit. And I'm just like, I need something different, which you can imagine is not always great. So that's actually why I was like, I need to go work for a startup where like the work changes all the time, so that I don't get bored. Futuristic. Yeah, definitely. I definitely like to imagine the world, I like to imagine worlds that could be. I love sci-fi, by the way. It's my favorite genre. And I think part of the reason why it's my favorite genre is I like to set aside reality of what is for what could be. And I definitely need time to like think about things if they're difficult or complex, or if my intuition is that there's something deeper to be discovered there. I will say explicitly, Josh, that like I give you a free pass to say like you're thinking too deeply about something if I kind of get caught in that rumination. Positivity. You'll notice that like even difficult things, as long as I kind of can understand the why behind them, I can deal with really difficult situations. I do need lots of interaction. That's what I actually learned that when I first started working remote 5 years ago. I was like, oh, I need to set aside time to just like bullshit with my peers. Otherwise, like it gets really lonely and depressing. And then everybody learned that when COVID started.
Yeah.
Um, um, yeah, sorry, I'm just like breezing through these things. What's the ones that resonate? Calmness in the face of change. Yeah, that's one that's kind of shown up throughout my career. And not just career, actually, personal life too.
Calmness in the face of change. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's adaptability. And it definitely is, that's supported by many of these, because you look for the change.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes I want the change, bring the change.
Yeah, I like that. And Josh, and it's supposed to be high level, just the things that really resonate with you, that you know about yourself. What do you bring and what do you need?
Oh, it's funny that I'm wearing the color of my
Yeah.
personality, isn't it? And Mickey's wearing the color of his too, with the kind
Yeah.
of blue. Um, so well, we could start with that last one. What do I need for like calmness in the face of change? I think I've learned about myself in the last 2 years with how I deal with uncertainty, and not for the better, by the way. I think I thought I dealt with uncertainty in a more sturdy way than I think I do now. So that's kind of what I need actually, and Mickey's given that to me already, is a little bit of support, yeah, assurance, right? Um, because I think I've developed a little more anxiety with all of just the uncertainty that takes place with building a startup. Um, right. So what do I bring? I think I do bring a focus on excellence, and that can, of course, my mind, this might not shock you, Katerina, my mind immediately goes to the negatives of that. Um, which I suppose is actually then that in itself is right there, like is what this is almost saying. Like, but like the negative of focus on excellence is that I can get nitpicky and get tied into the details of like, that newsletter we sent out, the semicolon had a space between it and it shouldn't have, or like stuff like that. And then it's like, but Josh, this is the newsletter for your marketing on Sunday morning. Like that's not the big picture. That's not what matters, right? So I think it's a virtue for sure when you're building a product and you want it to really match a certain class out there. But I probably need somebody like Mickey to help push me and say, okay, that's okay. Like it doesn't have to be perfect right now. So perfection. I'm a perfectionist.
Good.
Yeah, I think I do give that relator. I think, yeah, informality that sets others at ease. That's a really good way of articulating, I think, what I bring. It can come across sometimes a little bit unstructured, but is also sometimes like a method to that madness for me, where I want to make people feel comfortable and create the relationship. Now on the flip side, I think what I need sometimes is a little bit more formality, is to button up a little bit and say, okay, great. Now we wear the sales hat. Now we don't just, chew the cud and chit chat for the first 15 minutes of the call, when we really should be getting into the proposal to walk them through and get them to say that they agree to it. And there's also some self-confidence issues there too, right? Like, so I need a little bit of that, bolster of that, like, um, being able to feeling confident to sell effectively. Um, just trying to look here. Yeah, I mean, I think I give creativity. I think I really enjoy thinking about ideas and learning from the customers that we talk to. And I think I give energy when it comes to ideating on the product and on marketing and just like different work streams. And I think what I need also is a little bit of discipline and focus too. It's easy to come up with ideas or be multitasking across different work streams, which I do all day. But then there's also the cost of switching and all those things. And I do sense sometimes, even like I mentioned this already, but I think I can derail meetings and conversations of just kind of bringing something up that's a little bit too informal, or just kind of shifting context of something comes to my mind and I blurt it out, but it's not exactly what the topic was on hand. And I need a little bit of pushback.
Would you like me to help with that?
I would like you to help with that. I think you've done a nice job at that so far.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, the last thing I need is I need to feel accomplishment. I need to, let me rephrase that. I need to feel progress. I constantly need to feel that the wheels are in motion and that we are progressing. If I get very anxious if I feel that there was a gap in the last 48 hours of like what's going on with the product, or what's going on with our outbound marketing, or what's going on with whatever the case is. I need transparency, and I need to know that there's like continual iterative progress.
Let's put some of this in writing. One of the things that both of you said, time to think deep and some time to connect, important. The last one was really deep. Feel progress. The wheels are in motion. This doesn't have to be the last version, but from being fed with each other's needs and what you bring, what do you think is important to write down in terms of operating principles for the two of you? How do we? Yeah, go.
Yeah, I think transparency is a big one, because I have a bad tendency to be able to hold a lot of like things in my mind, and then I don't write them down, or I don't clearly communicate them. And then whether it's Josh or other peers I've had in the past, or managers I've had in the past, they don't know what's happening. And I'm like, it's cool. Like I've got it. And they're like, but I don't know. Like, I don't know that. So one of the things I kind of realized, and I started pressing a little bit on the team, like the broader team, about this, that I actually want to come back to, is whether it's a centralized place or like a clear way of saying, like, here is the progress we're making towards the things that matter. Like, even if it's as simple as like, here's the total amount of emails we sent out this week across all the different things. Maybe we don't even care to see it broken down by the different things, but like, here's the total amount. And then like from like a product perspective, it's like, these are the amount of issues that we closed out in Jira. And then like for Shanae, it's like, here's the amount, like tick, 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 tick. So that,
like that
both Josh and I are clear on just the rhythm of the machine. Because then we can decide, Josh and I can sit down and say, are we getting where we want to go? No. Are any of these the right proxies for us to say we need to pull harder on this lever? Because Josh and I are good strategic thinkers. We know that. But and this is an area I've had to push myself to get a lot better in. And in my previous roles, it was a lot easier because I had lots of data available to me really easily within like Salesforce. I don't have that here. I have to like go pull a bunch of disparate data sources into one place.
Yeah.
I really like that. I'd love the idea of like a progress report as like a framework for our weekly meetings. And like, I want to know, Mickey, we used to have like really detailed progress on like the outbound emails and stuff. We just stopped doing it like after just, the product wasn't ready, but we can get back into that very easily. Shakar is great at that. But like, we want to know that. We want to know, I'd actually like to know like how many meetings did we book or did we
Yeah,
conduct
exactly.
last week? How many
Yeah,
onboarding
how many
sessions did we
meetings?
conduct? Yeah, like you said, like, it may not be the tickets that we completed, but like which features did we complete last week? Shanae can talk about how many, yeah, like you said, like how many meetings did we annotate last week? I think that's a really good framework for us.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like broad over precision until we're ready for precision.
Yeah.
Which will probably come in the future. But this is something I've struggled with because like, Shakar has 15 different tools he uses. And I'm like, how am I supposed to know all of the progress when there's 15 different tools that I don't know how to use 90% of them? I can learn, but there's a curve there.
This is
transparency.
Great. Super. This is great. And it really is actionable and it guides your actions. What else?
I think Josh and I both need and want to talk to people about update a lot. And different types of conversations. Obviously, we want to have like demos to try to get customers, but we also want to have meetings with people that are aspirational or vision oriented. But I think Josh and I both need we need and want a lot of perspective so that we can level set to some degree what we think and feel. It's a big investment in time and opportunity, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah, and it feeds both your needs to connect with the outside world and the future and the strategic thinking. Because you get data and you don't only stir in your own pot, but you get outside data around the problem you're solving. And it fits with your relationship building skills, Mickey, and it fits both of your need to think strategically. Making time to do that and to do that together regularly, I think is a great principle.
Yeah.
How much do you want to bring excellence into this, Josh? Because you said, you mentioned that that's something that you are really strong in. And as you've kind of noticed, my working style is like, unless excellence is needed, I don't go for excellence. Because I know I'll get to the point where I will stay on something for far too long, or I'll procrastinate because I'm like, man, I have to be excellent at this. So it's going to take me longer to get started. So I'm willing to like try to evolve into change in that regard.
And I'm willing to devolve. So like, I'm happy to meet you in that one.
Well, I'm not even necessarily saying we need to compromise.
Well, but the problem is that like, okay, so my quest for excellence on this stuff will undoubtedly create bottlenecks, like it has this week with sending out emails to evangelists. And you could see the same thing happening now with the one pager. So that's the challenge. But at the same time, I don't know.
Where are we okay, or where do we demand excellence? I actually think we should demand excellence on the product. And I've actually been very vocal with you that like, it is embarrassing. And I say that out of love. Like, I want to help get it to a point where it is excellent. And I know that a part of that is just like the transcription, like doing that is hard. So it's not necessarily even we didn't do well. But I do think product excellence is something that we should strive for, which then means, okay, if we're going for product excellence, maybe like, to your example, maybe the email copy doesn't have to be perfect right now, because we're going to save some of that perfection for the areas that we do want to be excellent.
Yeah. Well, the two I think are mutually exclusive, honestly. The product excellence, I'm the overlap between the two.
Yeah, you're the overlap, but I don't think they're mutually exclusive in that your time, we have to decide where it goes. So like,
yeah,
an hour spent you reviewing email copy versus an hour spent you driving product excellence. I want you to spend an hour on the product.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's fair. I'm okay with that. And then maybe that's where maybe you take one step forward on the excellence chart, right? And so I meet a little bit in like in letting go of that sense of control of like perfection. And then maybe you meet me a little bit more on revisions or stuff like that if I have feedback.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Like, I need to get better at writing copy, because I don't think that that's going away anytime soon.
Yay. I think just the fact that you have words for this now, do we go for progress or do we go for excellence or perfection, is already an operating principle. Because now you can decide, Josh, this is, for me, this is progress. No, for me, this is excellence. Okay, why? Okay, we can decide, but we can decide explicitly. And then not nitpick or spend 80% of our time on wordsmithing.
Right. Because there's no way today I will complete my tasks. No way. No. I will be able to update all these emails that I owe Mickey, and that then I'm pushing him on to get our go to market in faster pace.
Yeah, like, so then we make a trade-off. Like, is it okay to wait and we want the customization, or do we prefer getting the emails out without the customization?
You know what was probably good middle ground was when you sent out to Michael, you sent out that one pager on Google Docs, and it was quick and it was it wasn't sloppy, but it was just quickly drafted, right? You didn't like mince over every word. I would have, right? I would have minced over every word, but then undoubtedly I wouldn't have gotten it out to him until a week later.
And it's interesting. Yeah, go. Sorry, Josh.
But I like the ground of like, you got it out, and then we can actually go back and refine. That's maybe a place that we can also find a little bit of a ground.
Yeah, and I was fine with you being like, hey, let's actually put something a little bit more formal together, because I see there being a broader use case for that. And you actually said it. You said it when you asked for it. You're like, hey, this is actually something we probably will be asked for a lot. So then I agree with you that we actually should do something that is of higher quality, which I will say, like, I'm not going to be able to get it to the finish line myself right now.
Yeah.
And
but that's where we can meet. If you take half a step more in the category of excellence, that sounds like such a disparaging way to phrase it, but
just get a little fucking better, please.
If you get a little better, then I will get a little worse. No, then I can come in and kind of and do a little bit more of a cursory revision at the end of it, but like we can just move faster, I think, and I can give up that like ownership of some of that stuff.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. Like,
tell me how to write it down, and then I want one more on pushing back Josh.
Mickey gets a little better. Is that how we summarized it?
Yeah. I think that I hope that goes on the website. Like, our principles are, number one, Mickey gets better. Yeah. So, or sorry, are you asking for us to rewrite this bullet or come up with the fourth bullet?
Is it okay as we have it?
No, that doesn't represent it. So she's asking for
precision or speed.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I like that.
Do you want me to take out progress excellence?
But I think what I don't know that I wouldn't phrase this as a question, because I think the principle is what we agree to is we go for precision, or we go for speed. We go for speed under like a lower threshold of precision, and then refine for a greater precision later.
I see this more as we're being explicit of when we're going for precision or speed. Like
okay, I see. That's how you see it more. Okay, that's fair.
Like there are times where we say this is about precision, like we have to get this right. And there are times where like we don't. There's a margin for error. We need to go for speed.
Right. By the way, this is the same. I mean, operating principle. This is the same principle that Richard would want to have with me too for engineering.
Yeah,
we should just constantly make it explicit. Are we going for precision or are we going for speed? That's actually a great business principle, that like the framework.
Yeah.
I think Bezos talks about this in like type 1 versus type 2 decisions.
Right.
So like that's how I think about things sometimes, whether I'm recalling it consciously. Is I'm like, is it okay if this breaks, but we have to get it out, or we have to get it done? If it's not okay that it breaks, like we can't undo it, then we need to take a beat.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's actually why I want to push precision on the product and excellence on the product, because I'm very well aware that if you put a shitty product in the hands of users and they don't use it, they may never use it again, no matter what you do.
Yeah.
If you send them a so-so email, you might get another shot.
Yeah. I love that.
So I think there's also something underlying here, which is like, I'd like to pick up the speed a little bit, Mickey, the pace of like our go-to-market. Collectively, I'm not pointing the finger at you, although you do own go-to-market. but I want to pick up the speed. It is but I want to pick up the speed a little bit. But I think I have a hunch. You're saying like, yeah, I get it. I agree with you, but that's not my primary concern, because we still have this roadmap that we want to build out for the rest of the year. So if we don't go as fast right now, that's okay while the product is still completing its baking, and then we'll pick up the speed later. Is that fair?
It's partially true.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a part of me that's like, we can't go too fast because we aren't actually ready. We got it out there, which I do think is important, so that we can learn, because there has been a lot of learnings and fix things. The second part of that, I think, goes back to the speed or precision of like, you want me to go faster, or you want us to go faster. But if we have such a high level of precision, that's actually going to slow us down. So like, if I basically, like, what I'm saying is, hey, Josh, if you want to go fast, just step back and let me send out 1,000 emails tomorrow. Or, that's the thing. But if you need a week to like pick over the copy and like make sure it's a-okay, that's going to slow us down. Where's the balance?
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing something, Mickey, that Josh was asking for, but that's never really fun to receive. He said, I need pushback. And I need sometimes a little bit of formality, and sometimes discipline, sometimes focus, which all is occasionally say, Josh, you're chewing on this for too long, or you want too much, whatever.
Yeah.
Josh, what are you feeling?
No, gratitude for Mickey.
That's great.
I swear to God, Katerina, this is exactly like marriage counseling.
I had COVID last week, and my head is still pretty mushy.
Foggy. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're doing an amazing job.
You had COVID? I'm sorry.
Oh, man, it was bad.
What is it?
I'm still beat. I stand up, and I'm in Colorado again, Josh. We're here for the winter, for the ski race season.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's cool. It snowed when we arrived, but I'm like thin
air. Yeah.
Yeah, the thin air. Yeah. I'm do we need to what else do we need to make explicit?
Oh, go ahead, Nikki.
Oh no, I was just gonna recap to see if that kind of like got my juices flowing, but go ahead.
So I actually know your so I want to make sure that you have like the right work lifestyle balance, right? Because I really respect your family values. And I know that in the mornings it's tough for you, like 7 to 8:30. Oh, just up until 8:30. I don't have necessarily like full visibility into like what after that works and doesn't work for you.
Oh yeah. So like basically after 8:30, I'm available. Now there are days where like, Kai can't go get Logan and I need to go get her at 3:00.
Yeah.
But like what that means is if you absolutely need me at 3 on a day that Kai has asked me to, go get Logan, then we just have to talk about it and figure out like, okay, do I need to go back to Kai and like, do that whole shift? But there's nothing off limits after 8:30. It really is kind of like a day by day, week by week when it comes to Logan, which is usually just after 3:00 on Tuesdays and on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because that's when she goes to school. But Kai is usually the one getting her. And then like if she comes home and she wants to like interact with me, I'll usually put her in front of the TV.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
Say like, I got to still do work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's explicitly what the deal is.
And there's
like,
no like bedtime routine or dinner routine or anything like that.
I mean, there is, but like, that's at 10:00 your time. So
that doesn't mean much, Mickey.
No, but like if you text me, like I thought I said it before, but I'll say it again. Like you can always text me. Yeah. And if I can't respond or I'm too tired to respond, I won't. If it's late, right? Like
yeah. Cool.
And if you absolutely need to talk to me, if the world was burning down, let's say a year from now, and there's an AWS outage, call me.
Yeah, I get it. Cool.
I am all in.
Yeah. No, I know. So I know. No, I just want to make sure. I want to be sensitive to your balance. Such. Yeah, cool.
If it ever becomes an issue, I will tell you.
Okay, cool. And then, I mean, even sometimes on the weekends, like I send emails, stuff like that. If you're not at your email, that's fine. I don't expect you to be. But I might.
Hey, that's text. Exactly. Send me emails on the weekend. Send me Slacks on the weekend. But if you want to talk on the weekend, you have to text me. You have to make it clear that you want to talk. Yep. And I'm fine to talk on the weekend.
Yeah. Because honestly, so you should know about me. Sometimes I get to Friday and I'll get to like Friday afternoon and I'll actually just like, I'll kind of put pencils down and say, I give up. I'm just, I'm finishing this on the weekend. And that's when you'll actually see like some of my ideas come through and all my emails, and I have the most energy. And it's unfortunate because then it drains me for the next week, but that's a personal issue. Like I actually have the most energy on the weekends for whatever reason.
No, I get it. I would too, but a lot of my energy goes to like Logan or cleaning the house because you're like, you're catching up with the week. But I totally get it.
And Josh, how the brain works is when there is less minutia, we activate a part of a different brain network, and you can think differently. You're fresher. Right. The things don't let all the space in your life, and we've talked about this, but don't let it all eat up. All of you need, especially with your types of brains and your preferences.
Yeah.
But regardless, we all need some space to stay sustainably sharp and high producing.
Yeah.
I'm going to use the restroom really quick.
Yeah, let's wrap up because we have a customer call in a second.
Exactly. I will send you your document. This is the first version. Let's just also make sure, Josh, that we check in regularly.
Thank you. I mean, I also want to be considerate of your time too, but this is amazing. Like, and you don't mind that I publish this? I literally want to give this to the startups that I know as a primer, and
Lovely.
let them, if you want, let them come to you to do this. But like, I want to be very, I'm kind of open source with the way I operate. I want to put this on LinkedIn, and as my way of welcoming Mickey to the company, and every company should do the same thing. And here's the video if you want to go learn. We didn't say anything that was overly sensitive. So
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
No. And I think, I mean, I'm always in, you know me, I'm as transparent as can be.
Yeah. And if you want to use this, you can. You've got I'll send you the recording. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye, Josh.
Bye.